Compilance, the meeting of Board of Directors. These meetings shapes a company's decisions, ensure compliance, and drive static growth. We have prepared a real-life scenario. Oberio Limited, a newly incorporated company holding its first board meeting. Through this case, we will see how key decisions are made, policies set, and challenges tackled. Let's dive in. The Boardroom Chronicles of Oberio Limited. In the heart of the bustling financial district, Oberio Limited, a promising new company, had just been incorporated. The founders, a team of ambitious entrepreneurs, were eager to set things in motion. However, before any grand business venture could take off, the board of directors had convened and established the governance structure.
The first meeting, 30 days after incorporation, the directors of Oberoi Limited gathered in the sleek conference room. The agenda was simple: appoint key officers, approve the company's policies, and outline the strategic vision. The chairman, Mr. Raj Oberoi, emphasized the importance of compliance with corporate laws. Gentlemen and ladies, as per the Companies Act, this is our first official meeting. We need to establish our governance framework, ensuring transparency and accountability, he stated. Resolutions were passed, minutes were recorded. The board members left with a sense of responsibility and purpose.
Regular board meetings. As per legal requirements, Oberio Limited ensures that at least 4 board meetings were held annually, with no more than 120 days between each consecutive meetings. The meetings become a platform for reviewing financial statements, evaluating market trends, and making key strategic decisions. One such meeting proved to be a game changer. The CFO, Ms. Ananya Mehta, presented an ambitious expansion plan. We have an opportunity to enter the international market, she announced. The directors debated the risk and rewards, ultimately voting in favor of the plan. The decision was formally recorded in the minutes as required by law.
Virtual meetings and urgent decisions. As the business grew, challenges emerged. One day, an urgent decisions had to be made regarding a high-stakes investment. The directors, scattered across different locations, convened via video conferencing. The law permits remote participation as long as the proceedings are recorded. The company secretary reminded them. With an anonymous virtual vote, Oberoi Limited secured a lucrative deal showcasing the efficiency of modern board governance.
The role of committees. To streamline decision making, the board appointed committees to oversee critical functions. The audit committee ensures compliance, while the strategy committee focused on growth initiative. The board empowered these committees but retained ultimate authority.
A meeting with a twist. One day, the company faced a crisis, an unexpected regulatory hurdle. The board had to convene on shorter notice. According to the law, a shorter notice was permissible for urgent matters, provided an independent director ratified the decisions. The directors acted swiftly, devising a complaint strategy that saved Oberoi Limited from legal troubles.
Quorum and compliance. Every board meeting adhered to the legal requirements that at least one-third of the directors, or a minimum of 2, must be present. Even in times of uncertainty, Oberoi Limited ensured compliance, reinforcing investor confidence.
Over the years, Oberoi Limited's board meetings became more than just a legal obligation. They were the driving force behind the company's success. With meticulous planning, adherence to corporate laws, and a strategic vision, the directors transformed Oberoi Limited into a global powerhouse. And so, in the boardrooms of Oberoi Limited, decisions were made, strategies were crafted, and history was written, one meeting at a time.
Power of directors. Power of directors refers to the authority that company directors have to make decision and exercise power on behalf of the company. There are three kinds of power of directors. The first one is general power of the board. The second one is power to be exercised at board meetings. And the last one is power to be exercised with the approval of company in general meeting. Power of directors. At a bustling tech company named InnovateCo, the board of directors gathered for an important meeting in the company's conference room. The company had been rapidly expanding, developing cutting edge AI products, and was ready to take the next big step. The directors, led by Chief Executive Officer Zara Harris, had a lot on their plate. Zara stood up and addressed the team, reminding them of their roles. Remember, our power as a board are vast and extend to all aspects of the company's operation, she said. But we must always be careful as certain decisions must be made by the shareholders in the general meeting. And we have to work within the confines of the Companies Act and our company's articles of association. The board noted, understanding that the company's articles and legal framework provided both freedom and boundaries for their decision making. The meeting kicked off with several important topics for discussion. First, on the agenda was the issue of the company's unpaid shares. We need to make a call on the outstanding payment for the shares, Zara announced. We have waited long enough and it's time to act. Following that, the board discussed a proposal to buy back some of the company's securities under Section 68. This could help us manage our capital structure more effectively, Zara explained. After a brief discussion, the board passed a resolution to proceed with the buyback. Next, the team turned to the matter of issuing new debentures. Chief Financial Officer Raj Patel provided an update on the company's need for additional funding to expand operation in Europe. If we issue debentures, we can raise the capital we need without diluting ownership, he suggested. The board agreed, and another resolution was passed to issue the securities, expanding Innovate Corp reach beyond India. The conversation then shifted to borrowing. We need to consider taking out a loan to fund our new office in Paris, said Sarah. It is a key strategic move. The board discussed terms and ultimately approved the borrowing resolution. Raj then brought up the topic of investments. We could look into diversifying our investments. We are sitting on some cash reserves, and there are a few AI startups that could complement our growth, he proposed. After a round of thoughtful consideration, the board agreed to diversify, making another decision that could shape the company's future.
As the meeting continued, Sarah reminded the board that some decisions required approval from the shareholders. We need to consider whether we should sell the patent for our first AI algorithm. If we go through with it, we would have to get approval in the general meeting, she explained. The idea was met with mixed reactions, but it was clear that a vote from the shareholders would be necessary. Another critical topic was the potential merge with a smaller company specialization in robotics. The directors debate the pros and cons of merging, knowing that this was a decision that would not only affect the company's future but also its shareholders. If we decide to go ahead, we will need a majority votes at the general meeting, said Raja. The board agreed to be in negotiation but acknowledged that shareholders' approval was a critical step. The financial discussion of the meeting focused on a proposal to borrow a significant amount of money to fund international expansion. The CFO reminded them that borrow more than the company paid up capital and reserve would require shareholders' approval. This is a big step, Sarah noted, but it could set us up for a global leadership in AI. After a productive meeting, the board of Innovate Corp had made several key decisions to drive the company forward. Yet they understood that their power was not unlimited. They know that some major actions would require the consent of the shareholders. With that in mind, they prepared to present their resolution and plans at the upcoming general meeting, where they would seek the approval of the company's stakeholders to bring their ambitious visions to life. The directors left the meeting with a clear sense of directions, fully aware of the balance between the board powers they widely and the necessary checks and balance set by the law and the company's stakeholders.
The boardroom decision. In the heart of Mumbai's financial district, Astra Corp's boardroom was filled with its key managerial personnel. Mr. Arvind Mehta, CFO Ms. Priya Sharma, Company Secretary Mr. Rahul Verma, Managing Director Mr. Vikram Khanna, and Whole-time Director Ms. Sneha Iyer gathered for a crucial decision. Should Astra Corp expand in Europe? CFO Priya Sharma presented the financial analysis, outlining a rupees 500 crore investment over 5 years with the 15% expected returns. However, risks such as economic downturns, regulatory hurdles, and competitions were highlighted. Company Secretary Rahul Verma explained the strict corporate governance laws in Europe and the need for a dedicated legal team. Meanwhile, Managing Director Vikram Ganna emphasized Astra Corp's strong brand presence in Asia and how they could compete strategically in Europe. The whole-time director, Sneha Iyer, highlighted the importance of hiring local professionals to lead the European operations. The HR team had already started researching talent acquisition strategies to ensure a smooth expansion. After intense discussions, Astracorp's leadership approved a phased expansion into Europe. CEO Arvind Mehta made the final announcement, setting a strategic roadmap for the growth. With the European expansion plan finalized, Astracorp's leadership celebrated their milestone. The executives shook hands, confident in their strategy for the global growth.
Astracorp officially entered the European market by signing a joint venture agreement with a strategic business partner. The leadership team observed as the CEO and the European partner signed the contract, marking a new era for the company. Astracorp held a grand launch event where the CEO announced the company's official entry into the European market. The executive team stood beside him, celebrating this major milestone. Astracorp successfully established its European headquarters. Employees worked efficiently while executives discussed future strategies, ensuring continued global success. At Astracorp's European headquarters, the leadership team met to analyze market growth and plan future strategies. The company was on track for continued success in the global market. With Astracorp's European expansion a success, the CEO and the executives raised a toast to their achievement. The company had entered a new era of global growth. Key managerial personnel are vital for a company's efficient functioning, overseeing leadership, strategic decisions, and regulatory compliance. They include roles like the CEO, CFO, and company secretary, ensuring financial stability, risk management, and legal adherence. Their expertise helps in aligning business objectives with governance standards, fostering transparency and investor trust. Without strong key managerial personnel, companies may face operational inefficiencies, financial risk, and regulatory challenges affecting long term growth and sustainability.
Who actually manages a company's daily operations? Meet the managing director, the executive responsible for decision making and strategy under Indian corporate law. A managing director is a director who is given substantial management powers. Their authority comes from an agreement, board resolution, or company rules, including memorandum of association and articles of association. However, they work under the control and direction of the board of directors. Indian law says these companies must have an MD, whole-time director or manager if they have 5 crore or more paid up capital. Some MD appointments need central government approval unless they meet Schedule 13 conditions. A person can be a managing director in only 2 companies, and the second one needs board's approval. A managing director's maximum term of appointment is 5 years. However, there is nothing to prohibit his reappointment, reemployment, or to the extension of the term of office.
The board of directors of Senate Technologies Limited gathered in a high rise office overlooking the city skyline. Their mission was clear to appoint a new managing director who would lead the company into its next phase of growth. Mr. Sinha, the chairman, looked at the panel and began. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to appoint a new managing director. We must ensure that our decision aligns with the legal provisions. Ms. Rao, please guide us through the necessary compliance. Ms. Rao, the company secretary, adjusted her glasses and refers to her notes. Certainly, sir. As per Section 196 of the Companies Act 2013, the managing director, whole time director, or manager can only be appointed if they meet certain conditions. So, the conditions are the individual must be at least of 21 years old and not exceed 17 years of age. If the candidate is above 70, a special resolution is required. The appointment cannot exceed 5 years at a time but can be renewed not earlier than 1 year before the expiry. An individual cannot be an undischarged insolvent or declared bankrupt. A person convicted of an offense involving moral turpitude or sentenced to imprisonment for more than 6 months cannot be appointed. Mr. Malhotra, the chief legal officer, added. Moreover, under Section 197, the total managerial remuneration cannot exceed 11% of the net profits unless shareholder approval is obtained. If the company is not making sufficient profits, Schedule 5 sets out conditions under which we can proceed. Ms. Desai, the HR director, spoke next. Based on our evaluation, we have shortlisted Mr. Vikram Reddy as the next best candidate. However, we need to ensure his compensation structure aligns with legal limits. The board invited Mr. Vikram Reddy for an official discussion, a seasoned leader with 25 years of experience. He entered the boardroom confidently. Mr. Sinha asked, Mr. Reddy, before proceeding, we need to confirm a few legal formalities. Do you have any history of insolvency, conviction, or disqualification under Section 196? Mr. Reddy smiled. Absolutely not. I meet all the eligibility criteria under the Companies Act. Mr. Malhotra nodded and said, Good. Since your proposed remuneration exceeds limit under Section 197, we need to obtain shareholder approval and ensure compliance with Schedule 5. If approved, your appointment will for a term of 5 years, effective immediately. Mr. Reddy agreed and the board prepared for the official appointment. A formal board resolution was passed. Resolved that Mr. Vikram Reddy be and is hereby appointed as the Managing Director of Senate Technologies Limited for a period of 5 years, subject to shareholder approval. Ms. Rao prepared the appointment letter including salary perks and stocks option, roles and responsibilities, compliance with Section 196, 197 and Schedule 5. Mr. Sinha handed the appointment letter to Mr. Reddy. Congratulations, Mr. Reddy. Your appointment is now subject to shareholder approval in the next general meeting. The annual general meeting was packed with shareholders eager to hear the board's proposal. Mr. Gupta, a senior shareholder, raised a concern. Mr. Sinha, what happens if the company's profit do not meet the required limits for his remuneration? Mr. Sinha clarified. Good question. If our profits are insufficient, Schedule 5 allows us to appoint him based on industry benchmarks and the approval of shareholders. Additionally, his salary is justified given his expertise. The shareholders unanimously approved the resolution, and Mr. Vikram Reddy officially became the new managing director of Senate Technologies Limited. As he took the stage, Mr. Reddy confidently declared, I am honored to lead this company into a future of innovation and success. The room erupted in applause as Zenith Technologies entered a new era of leadership.